All right. I am so delighted to have Patrick Neal with me today. He is the owner of Brick and Laurel, an event space based in San Diego, as well as CommonGood Coffee Roasters. He wholesale and retail online. And delighted to have him here today to share his story and give us some tips and things that we can look at in our business. So welcome, Pat.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to give a little background about our guest today. So he is husband to his wife, Sarah, and father to his three beautiful children. And he believes that God made each and every person on this earth, and thus everyone has intrinsic value because they've been created with intention. He bases his actions around this belief through a humble and empathetic lifestyle. And it's through this that propelled him to become an entrepreneur, wanting to have more of an impact in our world and people doing more than just clocking in and out. So, again, welcome, Pat. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Great. So, tell our listeners or our viewers a little bit more about your entrepreneurial journey because you've been an entrepreneur for some years and
hmm
your businesses now look a little bit different than your first business. So tell us more about your actual journey.
Yeah. I come from a line of entrepreneurs. A lot of people started things in my family. So I think it was in my blood a little bit. When I was in high school, I started a clothing line where we printed shirts and just sold them around. I actually tried to start a cleaning company with my best friend when we were 17-ish, 18. We
Yeah.
didn't have any equipment. We just printed up business cards and then just went out and tried to pitch to
Figured
some
it out.
deals.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
didn't end up actually ever doing anything because we never landed any deals, but we never spent any money. So, but yeah, so it started
I don't
there.
think I knew that. That's something that I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, from there, went to college. I worked in property management a little bit outside of college and went and worked at a for-profit university. I thought I enjoyed education and people learning. And so I thought oh, this would be a good fit. It was not a very toxic sales environment,
Mm.
just trying to enroll every single person you can get on the phone. But it was in that 4 months that I was at that school or working for that school that it was so miserable
Mm.
and I hated everything about it. That's what really propelled me to get on my feet and say, okay, I'm going to do something else.
Mhm.
If I had been in a comfortable job, I would not have had the pressure of all right, I need to get the heck out of here and do something different.
Mhm.
So I was on my first day of training at that school. I was like, there's no coffee here. We need to have a coffee card. And I had worked at Starbucks through college. I enjoyed coffee. I enjoyed that it's a very um, routine, romantic experience in general, where people like to come to you to get a product. You're
Yeah.
a part of their day. You get to know them. You know their name. You know what they drink. You start learning about their family, what they do for work. So it was just a very personal thing, and I enjoyed that. And so I'm sitting in training, and I was like, oh, there's no coffee cart here. We didn't have a coffee cart. It's business park. And so I started researching that night. What do I need to do? What permits, everything. And 2 weeks later, I was on the floor of actual doing my job, what I was hired for. And I remember after my first day going to have dinner with my best friend and his wife. And I just remember saying, I think I made a mistake, feeling that this was such a bad position and job that it was I've never felt this way in my life, but this was a mistake to be here, working for this company.
Mhm.
And we ended up starting a roasting business a few years down the road, CommonGood. We started
Yep.
together. But he was there in that moment where I was like, this is not,
Mm.
I should not be here. So over the next 4 months, I just was researching, trying to save some money, see what kind of loans I could qualify for to buy stuff. And I basically just pieced together a mobile coffee tent setup that you would see it like a business park. And once I had all that stuff, had started talking to the property manager actually prior to having everything, and just trying to get what do I need to do to get in here. And she they're kind of stringing me along. At the time, I was only, I don't know, 20, I was in my early 20s, and I looked very young too, and have any facial hair or anything. So I was like, I looked young. And so I come in, I clocked out for lunch at the property or at my job, ran in the bathroom, changed, put like a suit on, went to the property manager office, and then talked to her. She wasn't like, they weren't really giving me time to the end. They were kind of stringing me along. And so finally, after maybe a month or so, when I actually had bought everything that I needed to open up, I just sent her an email, the property manager, and said, hey, like, I have another offer to go somewhere else. If you can't give me an answer by the end of tomorrow, I'm going to have to go with them. And she emailed right away, hey, we'd love to have you. Can you start next week? Kind of thing. And I was like, oh, I can't start next week, but I'll start I'll open up the week after. And I sent that email.
Oh, now I got to figure this out.
Yeah, I sent that email. I didn't have an espresso machine at the time. I had like the cart and the like the
right.
fridge
You were
and
like,
everything.
you created the back and you created the space and you had to fill the space. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I went to my manager and I was like, hey, I got to quit right now. I'm going to open up a coffee cart here. So, and they kind of were all like, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was sort of it. I ran that business for 10 years. We had up to 5 locations and I think 30 employees at the most at one point, and learned a lot. I don't operate that anymore. That kind of evolved and we grew a roasting business out of it, a wholesale business. And so that's what I've been doing for the past several years, just sourcing good quality coffee, sourcing it or supplying it to other shops, offices, anyone that enjoys coffee and wants quality coffee is a customer for us. And hopefully trying to pass on my knowledge and experience to my wholesale shops, to just be free and share with them what I have learned over the decade of having the retail side of it.
Yeah, no, that's great. And so, as I'm listening to your story again, I'm hearing, these various moments that were these, an opportunity, right? You saw the opportunity in the coffee cart, but also there was the break apart of this job that you absolutely hated. And you had already started, it sounds like, planting seeds for this breakthrough of like, I can't do this anymore. And, this opportunity presented itself and in true entrepreneurial form, right? That determination and that perseverance where it's like, now or never, property manager lady.
Yeah.
And that is, essentially what brought you to where you are today with CommonGood. So it's pretty powerful. And so I guess, specifically with CommonGood, what were your goals when you started this business or the next iteration of the coffee industry?
Yeah. Initially it was like, all right, can I subsidize and lower my costs by roasting in-house? And if we can do that, then if we can get a good product, can we then sell it and create another revenue stream by selling our coffee to other places? So that really was the goal of I had started with my best friend since high school. So it was kind of like a fun passion project, something for us to continue building something together and working on. And then like a different revenue stream, but still within the coffee world.
Sure. And so what are your goals now, or have they changed?
Yeah. So it's still at the core, we want to continue growing and continue doing more business. Now I don't just look exclusively for cafes. We really try to work with anyone that appreciates, good tasting coffee, but also coffee that has some impact beyond just going to the store and buying coffee. So whether that's, us at the core buying quality coffee that has been farmed well and that the farmers are getting paid appropriate rates for their work. That's at the baseline level. Like that's the coffee we get. And so it's furthering economies around the world, not just, our own pockets.
Yep. Well, and, sourcing, but also, you and I have talked about how, and other ways that you can give impact or make an impact, and that's through your customers. So tell more about that.
Yeah. I really try to be, an open book, and I try to remind my customers like, hey, if you have questions, run stuff by me. If you're not sure what to do, I'm happy to share. Like I probably have experienced any kind of issue in the coffee retail world that you could. And so it's like, I don't want it to die with me. Like if I went through some bad situation, let me help steer you through it. And just, even trying to help our customers at, logistical side. When we recently had to raise our prices, and doing so, like I broke down the math for our customers. We're like, if this is what you're buying, here's the difference. Here's what you can do to make up that cost. You're not just absorbing that. Here's little things you could do to generate more revenue, to offset and maybe even be more profitable than before we raised prices. So those things like that. Yeah, I mean the basics of barista training, coaching them on like employee, like you have an, employee issues. I think that person just needs to be kicked out. Don't overthink it. Just let them go, kind of stuff. So yeah, you try to be free with the information experience that I've gained.
Well, resource, knowing that they can count on you as a resource. You're not just a vendor partner, but you're also a resource.
Right.
You're like, learn from your mistakes, right? Or your setbacks. So was there anything in particular? Well, let me ask this a different way. Because every business owner, every entrepreneur has setbacks. It's not just all bumblebees and roses, and people share their successes and things like that. But behind the scenes, there's a lot of learning and strategizing and implementing and feedback with team members, all of the things that happen and go on behind the scenes to move the business forward and to get it to where you want to be. So how do you stay motivated and focused when faced with setbacks?
Yeah. I think there's a strength and a dark side to most traits. I think one of my traits is that I am optimistic. I'm, glass half full or mostly full. Like if you're thinking about it, let's figure it out. We'll make it happen. And so I think because I default to that, even if there is a hard problem or a situation in the business, and we've had permitting stuff, dealing with fire marshal, to like just whatever,
for the event
source copy, event space, to I don't know, to anything in between. And it's never, I don't know, for me, it's never like, oh, we just got to quit. Like, let's just throw in the towel. That's never in my mind. So I don't know. It's just not, my mind's not programmed like that. So I can't we got to figure out a solution. We have to, we can work hard. We can think, we can plan. And doing those things, if we're being disciplined and doing those things, will yield the fruit of it. So yeah, I don't know. Quitting has just never been in my mind. And I think earlier on when I had the retail locations, the downside is not not knowing what your cut loss is, right? Where it's like, all right, we've worked this location for 2 years and we're not seeing the profit. Now's the time to cut it. And so when I'm meeting with people who want to open up a coffee shop or a cart or something, that's now something that I always share with them. Like, if you want to start this business, great. You need to designate how much money you're willing to invest into it. And then you should designate how much time you're willing to invest into it before, if you get 2 years in and it's not turning a profit, if you have it built into your mind at the start, like, all right, in 2 years, we're going to cut it and just call it. Then your risk up front is $20,000 in 2 years. And after that, I'm good. I can move on. And I stuck to my rules. Whereas if, with me, I started everything and it's like, I'm going to keep working, kind of keep trying to figure it out, never accept the loss. I know I can figure out a solution to this. But it's like, there might not be a solution
Mm,
for this situation. It just might be a bad situation.
mhm,
And so I think that's one area that I have realized. I wish I would have realized it years ago. I would have saved a lot of headache. I would have not wasted a lot of money and resources. Um, but I didn't know that, and I need, that's the dark side of my half glass half full
mhm.
personality.
Well, is it hindsight's 2020, right? It's like
Yeah, yeah,
mm, you didn't know what you didn't know, right? But now you know.
yeah.
Also,
Yep.
you pay it forward that way. And your business was perfectly designed by the owner that you were then, which is
Mm-hmm.
different from the business owner that you are today. And something that I've been really impressed with in our work together, just even a short period of time so far, is the intentionality that you have behind building this business, these businesses, right? That it's in setting of the goals, and that you're not afraid to stretch the goal, right? Like recently, you set a goal for the quarter, set a goal for the month, and it's like, well, mid-month, you already beat it. So what do we do, right? And what more do we need to learn to continue to grow and to fill that space? So, but even before we started working together, there was intentionality behind it, and you knew what you wanted to do with CommonGood and what it could be. And that's been pretty cool to witness, because you really are strategic about things. And so I guess in this process, what would you say has been one of the most valuable lessons that you've learned as a business owner, and how has it impacted your success in this business?
Yes. I think planning has been a area that I've grown a lot in, and it's been a lot better business wise operationally.
Mhm.
Whereas in the past, where it's like, I know, I can figure out the problem, you know, but I will rely on that. And that would come, as a frustration to my business partner. That comes with frustration to my life at home, with home life, where it's like, we'll figure it out. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to worry about this situation. We'll figure it out when it's like pressed up against the wall and we have to figure it out. Whereas now, in the years, I've tried to be more intentional with planning.
Mhm.
Um, and there's just things go a lot smoother when you plan for it. Cause it's like, I've built in a buffer of time for things to go wrong, and I can still hit my target
Mhm.
if all these things go wrong. Cause I'm giving myself this plan to
Well, you
function
still know
within.
where you're going, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
things are going
Mm-hmm.
to come up. There's going to be little fires, not literally,
Mm-hmm.
right? Figuratively. But in the meantime, it's like you still know where you're headed, and you still got your eye on the prize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the focus and the planning.
Planning. Yeah.
Yes, you heard it here, people. Plan. Come to Growth Club. So what do you see as far as the biggest opportunities for CommonGood?
um, yeah, everyone drinks coffee. So, in one sense, and
Yes, we do.
especially great
Yes,
coffee,
we do.
especially great coffee is such a small, makes up such a small percentage of the overall coffee market share.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of potential, market to be had,
Yeah.
um, just from everyday consumers who subscribe, and we, ship it directly to them, to local businesses, which is really what I try to focus on. Whether it's an office, we've got multiple offices that just we send them £5 every week or
Yeah.
every month. Um,
Your vacation
car,
rental client.
vacation rentals,
Mhm.
we're in car dealerships,
Mhm.
we're in coffee shops, of course. Um, so yeah, anyone that really wants to, enjoys drinking coffee and can see the value in it, it's like, yeah, we're more expensive than, you can go to Costco and get $5 pound coffee
Mhm.
or $4 pound coffee. You're going to taste it. The quality is going to be different.
Mhm.
And, what people don't see is a lot of the back end stuff in the coffee world. So how to be concise, you know, there's regions in the world where farmers are net negative on selling coffee. But because they have the land and they have the trees, it's like, what else are they're gonna keep doing it. But in theory, at some point, one generation could come along and be like, hey, we're not gonna do coffee anymore. Let's see if we can grow avocados, or and if we have that in a region, that essentially would impact the market overall and the supply. Yeah. And so then if our supply goes down, everyone's gonna have to pay more. So it's like you can start paying more right now, and it's a better product, and the farmers are getting sustainable wages to keep doing it, and for their kids to keep doing it. So it's getting people to realize that there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in the coffee world. Companies will throw a USDA organic, they'll fair trade certified, all fair, it's like all fair trade is they agreed upon, there's an agreed upon price that they should be paying, but it's not necessarily meaning they're getting the farmers are getting a top dollar. And it's also doesn't mean that you're getting a great product, like just because it's organic. I mean, you can get terrible organic, low quality organic produce. So there's just little nuanced factors in there that make it kind of challenging. But I mean, everyone drinks coffee. That's the upside. Everyone drinks coffee, and just communicating. Here's why it's worth paying more than $4 a pound on Jose's, because this is all the impacts.
Yeah, I mean, it's flavor and it's impact. It's flavor and impact, right? And if you can have both, even better. Yeah. Well, one of the areas that I've seen in our work together is in your scaling, right? Scalability, that you have people who are reaching out to you or referring you to organizations, churches and hotels and things like that outside of San Diego. So the opportunity to get in front and in more people's mouths, right, to make a bigger impact. So it's what do you see as far as that goes for CommonGood? Are you like thinking nationwide? Are you thinking as far as big picture, big hairy goals?
Big hairy goals. I don't know if I would. A big part of the business is being able to connect with our accounts. So even with our new account we got, it's in Texas, or another account in LA. Even with those, there's an element of being able to connect, to see what they value, what their goals are, and also what's important to them. And then we'll sell you coffee, but if there's got to be a reason. If you're not here and we're not having like a face-to-face or being able to have a connection point in person, there needs to be some kind of common denominator for our brand to, I think, have a long-standing relationship with you if you're not right here in our city. And so those people that we do have a connecting point or common ground that we can work together on, or the one account in LA, like they do a lot of their core thing is like working with high school, young adult people and getting them job experience. So bringing them in, training them. And so like the connecting point for us is like, all right, we can do a Zoom and we can run through some training and talk about coffee, talk about the roasting process, and expand your education in that avenue. And that gives us a connecting point, a reason to stay in relationship, doing business. So also, if you are in New York and want to buy coffee, also I'll ship you coffee. There's plenty of great coffee roasters across the US. So if there's no, if you and I don't have a connecting point and a reason to do business together, look, Google, there's going to be a good coffee shop, a good coffee roaster in New York, I promise you. What we do is it's skilled and refined, and we are always trying to grow and make sure we're staying, doing a good job, but it's not a proprietary. It's not like no one else in the U.S. can do a great job roasting. So we need a something to connect us to, and a
I
reason
mean,
for us to keep
I don't know
doing
if you
this.
meant to do this, but common good, a commonality.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We want good coffee, make it common,
Yeah,
but also like for the good of the common people.
sure. Yeah.
So farmers or locals.
Awesome. Well, so say someone in New York or anywhere in anywhere, but locally wants to get in touch with you or is curious and wants to hear more about how to do business with you. How can
Yeah.
people get a hold of you?
Um, you can go on our website. You can there's an inquiry form there. You can text me. Do you want to put my phone number on this or in the notes? We can do that. Hey, text me, call me, go online to our site, Common Good Coffee, and then or Instagram, and just shoot us a message there.
Okay, great. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Pat, for being here and sharing your
Thank you.
story. And thanks for what you do and having a really strong mission and for wanting to ensure that you continue to do good and with the common folk, right? Yeah, and
Yeah.
his coffee is amazing. So, all right. Well,
Oh,
thank
thank you.
you. And for those of you watching or listening, please type in your top aha moments, your blinding flashes of the obvious in the comments. We'd love to hear it, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank you.